So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming along this morning. My name is Ben Gunneberg. I'm the Secretary General of PEFC. As I said, I spent most of my life working in forestry. Actually, I started off as a forestry contractor. And I still have my first paycheck, which says General Unskilled Forestry Worker. And I'm very passionate about this industry. I remember my first job, I went out with a chainsaw. I was given the chainsaw. It didn't have a chain brake. I was given 10 minutes instructions on how to cut down trees in a Sitka spruce plantation in Scotland, and told to get on with it and come back at the end of the week. So things have changed a lot since then. That was a time when forestry in the UK had a very, very bad reputation. And there's been some radical changes in the last 30 years on the way that the forestry sector is perceived. We had some very controversial activities taking place. I've just come back this week here. I've been in Hobart, I've been in Tasmania, and I was looking at the situation in the north of Scotland at a time when we even had activists burning down forestry offices. So now we have a situation in the UK where people regard forestry as mainstream, important, pushing forward on issues such as climate change. It's a vital industry, and it's been at the forefront of forest certification and sustainability and promoting sustainability worldwide. And I think that's an excellent way to move. We need to get to a stage where we can start pushing the positive credentials of paper and paper-based products and come away from the negative images which there are. I want to talk to you and make a business case for certification. What is certification as such? It is an efficient mechanism that assists you to ensure and very often now maintain market access. It's a tool that allows you to manage risk, because people want to know where material comes from, whether it comes from deforestation, illegal logging, or whether it actually comes from sustainably managed forests, managed to the best forestry practices benchmarked worldwide. And it allows you to enhance your brand value over those who have no certification, who are not yet certified, and it allows you to communicate ethical business behavior. And I'll come back to some of these issues during my talk. But first of all, I want to show you this slide here, which is one which sort of represents what your companies are like. You're dealing with the value chain from the forest right through to the final consumer. And you have a lot of issues to deal with, whether it be policies at work, delivery concerns, accounting mechanisms, how you deal with your members and your shareholders and your stakeholders, your suppliers, your customers. And then there's all the areas of measurements and all the various quality assurance mechanisms that you've got in place. And only one little part of it, one little leaf, is certification. And it's a little part which plays a role in your economic and social and environmental triple bottom line when you look at the way you conduct your business. And this is quite important for us to remember, because when we're talking about forest certification, sometimes people forget that forest certification is just part of it. The role of forest certification is to add value. It's not a brand as such in its own to be the be-all and end-all. We are actually here to promote and help promote your businesses so that you can be assured that you're sourcing material from sustainably managed forests and have the proof for that. So if we look at forest certification, what does it actually deliver? Well, very importantly, it delivers wood that is legal, because now there is a big focus on legality. You'll be aware of the Lacey Act in North America and the EU timber regulations, which are coming into force in March of next year, when 27 member countries within the EU will have the requirement that anybody placing wood or wood-based products, including paper, onto the European market will have to have a due diligence system in place, and that due diligence system will have to provide information of the material that you're producing. It will have had to have undertaken a risk assessment, and you will have had in your process also a mechanism for how you undertook risk mitigation to ensure that no illegal products are coming onto the marketplace. But that was not the original role of forest certification. It was there to make sure and provide material from well-managed and sustainable forestry operations. And forest certification is not just what happens within the forest, it's also what happens from the forest gate right through to the final consumer. And so you have to have a traceability mechanism in place, which is, of course, the chain of custody. So, why certify? There's many reasons why you should certify, even in addition to the business case, and that is because forests are very, very important. They're very dear in the heart of people, for the well-being, for feel-good factors, for a lot of the aesthetic values which they provide. But they're also responsible for 2 out of every 3 species, land-based species, which exist, which is why people feel so strongly about forests and why they have difficulties linking the picture of cutting down a tree, maintaining habitats, and then a final product like a ream of paper. And then there is the social component. And you might ask, why am I not putting up the usual slide of somebody cutting down a tree or something like that with the latest chainsaw equipment? And I think we have to remind ourselves a little bit that actually forests are much more than that. About half of the products that come out of forests are used every single day for fuel wood and for firewood, for heating. And the other half is the traded material that of course, we're all involved in. But then there's a very important aspect which, if you look at the figures from the International Labour Organization, they show that 1 in 5 people in this world are in some way affected by forests and dependent on forests. And then if we take it even further, which is maybe one of the reasons I've shown this particular slide, is that the World Bank has put out studies to show that of the world's poorest people, 90% live in and around forests. And that includes about the 360 million indigenous peoples which live in and around forests around the world. That's about the size of the population of the United States. So it's something that people are aware of, and that's something that people want to know about. What are you doing when you're engaging in your business using materials from forests? How do you impact on all of these sort of situations? It's a prerequisite for doing business.